Hello, my name's Grayson.
So you had
What?
sushi and you did that.
Yeah.
I had barbecue chicken.
Ooh, yummy. Yeah.
Hey there.
Wow, I had sushi. It was good. My name's Grayson. That's Tyke.
Yes.
Welcome back to another episode of the ClearCut Podcast, episode 17. There'll be a song there. That's why I did that. Maybe not a song, but it'll be music.
Yeah.
Faithfulness.
Faithfulness is what we will be talking about today. Again, we're going through a mini-series, the fruits of the Spirit.
Which are?
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Like Grayson said, we are on faithfulness.
Yeah.
Faithfulness is one of those ones that I think we often attribute that trait to God, and we don't think about us being faithful.
Boom. Question. How do you stay faithful? How do you show faithfulness during busyness?
How do you show faithfulness during busyness? Priority. If your priority's in line, truly, faithfulness shouldn't be an issue. Being unfaithful shouldn't be an issue, especially I'll speak on to God in this moment. If regardless of how busy you are, God and your time with God, your relationship with God is your first priority, the busyness won't matter. When your priorities get out of line and it becomes second or third, that's when like you're not showing faithfulness in that moment. Faithfulness to God, I believe, is putting God first in everything. And if anything begins to become before God, you're putting, if you're putting something before God, that is then becoming an idol. You may not be worshiping it, but you're spending time with that. You're spending more time with that than you are God. So that is being unfaithful to God. That is putting something before Him, putting an idol before Him.
Next. Because I feel like it's very prevalent, very popular. But why do you think more and more marriages are not showing faithfulness to each other?
Pornography.
Yes. Obviously, I agree with that. But I also think pornography has changed a lot in today's time, right?
It has.
Like, I don't just mean like looking up porn on the internet, but just lust in general.
Yep.
Which whatever is whatever, but I feel like women, are more prevalent to showing off their bodies now than they used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of my whole life, it's kind of been that way. So it's kind of like something I just see and I'm used to.
Yep.
But I know they didn't do that just,
Right.
when my parents were younger.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't help. For a woman, I don't know as much because I'm not on the woman's side. But I don't feel like men just wear less clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I've seen some dudes with some pretty short shorts though.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, let's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I truly think it's because of that. I don't know what I was listening to, whether it was a short or a podcast, but one of the people said something about how porn is so easy to come or easy to get to these days. Back in, let's look at like the 80s or the 90s, you would have to go to a video store and get a porno, or you would have to subscribe to a magazine and get a porn magazine.
And you can't hide that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
Yeah. You'd have to be very sneaky about it and everything, right?
Yeah.
Where to now, I mean, the vast majority of people have phones, and you can put on porn, just like 10 seconds, go to your web browser and just have porn. Or like Grayson said, there are a lot of women these days that like to show off their body, wear very, very, very revealing clothes, and then post them on social media. So it may not be porn, but you're basically looking at a half naked woman anytime you go on social media.
This might go controversial, but I know you like that. So we'll just see where it leads. something I don't like, and I'll come from a woman's standpoint because I know what most of their brains say about this or what I think they say.
Mm-hmm.
But videos and pictures of them breastfeeding their kid.
Mm.
One, awesome.
Yeah.
Two, I don't need to see it.
Yes.
Their side of things, they're probably like, well, you just need to like take 10 seconds and not be lustful or not be. It's really not that I'm lustful. It's just I don't want my wife to see me scrolling through Facebook and then boom, there's that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I also think that they're like, well, it's like my body, it's my choice, and I'm proud that I can do this. And I'm like, that is great. You go, girl. You go, queen. Yes, queen. But I don't need to see it.
Yeah. I think like it is very controversial because most men either don't want to see it or they just don't care to see it.
Or don't need to see it.
Yeah. Like, yes, me seeing a woman breastfeeding, like you brought up the lust thing. It's not going to bring any of that. You know,
it's not that for me.
Yeah,
but still a very awkward moment. Like I've just seen this girl,
right?
And I don't need to.
All power to them because I know a lot of girls that cannot breastfeed, and I understand that they are very excited about that. They're very pumped about that, and you know that is a thing that share to your women friends.
Yeah.
Because other women would be proud of you. Like they would be, oh my gosh, like that's awesome. And there may be some men that are like that.
Maybe.
But there are also, I think we fit into the majority.
Right. Like I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think, thank God you can do it. I'm glad you can do it. I know it's good for the baby. I know it's good for the connection, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't want my wife to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like that woman is putting herself into a very vulnerable position online because although they do not show their entire breast, they're showing part of their breast online. And that is like, if there is someone that becomes lustful because of it, that puts them into a very odd situation to where the next time they see that person, it'll be very awkward.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell a woman she shouldn't post pictures of her breastfeeding, videos of her breastfeeding, because
it's weird how, maybe it's just because I'm older and I've had a kid now and stuff, but it's weird how often I see it.
Yeah.
It seems like nowadays, which is interesting.
But
like I said, you go, queen.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
There was a moment in time where I could not have Instagram or Snapchat on my phone because of that very thing. Because even still to this day,
because of breastfeeding or because of lust?
No, it wasn't even because of lust. It was just because
of what you would see.
They were like, I'm friends with a lot of people or following a lot of people on Instagram that I graduated with or my wife graduated with. In the spring and summertime, a lot of those girls like to post pictures of them like on the beach or whatever. And like you said, I don't want my wife to be seeing my feed looking like I scroll past them, but I don't want my wife to see that I had that stuff on my feed.
Yeah.
Snapchat was a whole nother story.
For me, Snapchat was bad.
I
have it now,
bots.
but I have like 10 friends, I think. And it's like our friend group. And I really did it just because my camera roll was full of pictures and I want baby pictures saved on there. But yeah, Snapchat was bad. When I knew like me and Hannah were getting like serious, I had to delete it.
Yep.
Just because like I'd wake up to things every single morning. Just out of the blue. Like wouldn't ask for anything. It'd just always be there. So yeah, definitely.
I didn't have any friends that would do that, but I had bots that would friend me.
That's
and I'm in such an odd position in those situations because I am a pastor. And so I would accept the request thinking, maybe it's someone from the church, someone that knows me and I just don't know them. Run into that so many times. And then it would be either provocative photos or just straight up nudes. Yeah. I'd be like, I can't.
Hopefully they don't go to church here.
Like, I can't do this. Like I cannot have this on my phone and let it become a temptation. In the moment, it wasn't a temptation. I was just like, who in the world in their right mind would like do this kind of stuff? But I just like I said, for the longest time, I had to get rid of it. I think I just downloaded Snapchat again. Whenever I sent you that video was when I downloaded Snapchat. So it was like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to Snapchat you me running this morning and being miserable, but I didn't know if you had it or not. So I didn't want you to open it in like a year and be like, huh, that's weird.
I do not have my notifications on Snapchat. Just because I get on it once a week to see pictures of my niece.
Mm-hmm. So,
but I truly believe that is one of the main reasons why people struggle with being faithful to their spouses, because especially in marriage, right? Sex is good. Sex is right. You should have sex in marriage. Rao Aaron's one of the marriage coaches at our church. He said this to me a while back at a marriage conference that I actually talked about this last week, the same marriage conference. But the devil's going to try as hard as he can to get you in bed with a spouse before you're married, and he's going to try the hardest that he can to get you out of bed with your spouse while you're married.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're married, the enemy's trying so hard to get you, like I said, out of bed. He's trying to get you to get that release anywhere else if he can, because you having sex with your wife is okay. He doesn't want that. So like porn, like I said, porn is just so easy to get to. It's stupid. I wish there'd be just like an international ban on porn.
I do get kind of confused because it is illegal, correct?
Illegal
with the I.
I have no idea.
Well, I always thought it was.
I know prostitution is.
That's very different.
You get paid to have sex.
Yeah.
With porn.
You get paid to have. A prostitute. When I think of that, I think of like going downtown, like picking someone up that's on the corner of a street.
Yeah, but like it's the same thing. Relevant. You're getting paid to have sex.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant from like the viewer standpoint. I was like, well, that's weird. No. But yeah, that also. But
like if being a prostitute is illegal, then being a porn star should be illegal as well, because you're just getting paid to have sex. But I don't. It should be illegal.
Yeah, I agree. That took a turn. It was relative.
It was, yeah. We were talking about faithfulness to your your
spouse and husband. So we went over faithfulness to spouse and things. We kind of touched on godly and busyness. What other types of faithfulness is there? I mean, there is faithfulness in everything you do.
Yes.
Your job, you have to have some type of faithfulness. And your boss probably wants you to have some type of faithfulness, or see that, knowing you're going to show up the next day.
Yeah. And also, like, to your friends. I mean, you can be faithful to your friends, not going behind their back and doing stuff, not saying stuff behind their back. Being true on your promises, going through on your promises, on what you say. That's... We're getting to the point in life where we're going to figure out who our friends are going to be for the rest of our lives, right? And that really matters, because you went through something a year and a half ago, where your friend was not faithful to you, and that hurt, right? When you were in high school, if someone would have done that, the quote unquote grudge you would hold would not be as long. And I don't think it'd be as severe, but because we are entering adulthood and we've come to realize that, like, you don't have very many friends in adulthood.
That, and you can't just like mess with somebody's life.
Yeah.
Because that affected not only, me and my wife's marriage at the time, just emotion wise, our friend group and career, and where we lived all at the same time. So that, it's very different than just someone snitching on you in high school and you're over it in a month,
Yeah. So we have to keep this in mind. Like, these fruits of the Spirit are what we convey, what people see on us if we walk with Christ, walk by the Spirit. And so people should see that we're faithful. We should be faithful in all things, faithful to all things, all people. And it's hard sometimes. It's very hard. We've talked about it. I mean, being faithful to your spouse. It's hard if you have a problem with it. Especially what we talked about with pornography.
That's true.
If you're someone who just doesn't have a problem with pornography, then being faithful in that sense to your spouse, it's just not going to make sense to you. Like, you're not going to understand what we were talking about. But you can also be emotionally unfaithful, I think. There were moments where I would be pouring out myself more to my friends than I was my wife, just because in moments, I don't even know if we were married at the time when I was doing this, but she was at least my fiance, and it was things that I wasn't comfortable yet talking to my wife about, and I was pouring out my emotions there, and then being so emotionally drained when I got home, to where the conversations with my wife were, "Hey, how was your day? Good. How was yours? Good. What do you want for dinner? What do you want to watch tonight?" And that was it.
It is very hard for me to pour out myself, not in a loving way, but I guess an emotional way to my wife. I don't know why that is, but we've had this conversation, so this isn't just going to be out of the blue. And she's like, "What?" It's easier for me. I think it's I don't know how to say the word. Confrontation.
Confrontation, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the confrontation part of it with her. And not that she would judge me, but scared that she would. So it's easier for me to leave the house and drive somewhere and text her a long message.
Yeah. And
she goes, "Okay, talk to you when you get home." And I'm like, darn it. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not very often. I'm pretty much just the same. But in certain seasons I get to a certain point where I just lose my mind.
Yep. And
hold it all in. And she's the one I want to talk to most of the time. It's hard for me to say it in person and find the time to do it, and I don't know. It's always been weird.
It is. And I care about my wife's emotions too much. I'm in the same boat as you.
I don't want her to feel my burden either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for the last 2 years, you a year and a half, myself a year or so, we've been the sole provider for our families. For your wife and Maya, and then me for my wife. So we carry a lot.
Yeah, it's true.
Although my wife is in school and she is busy and everything, I'm the sole provider. I'm the only one that cooks. I have to take care of her, and so I take so much on myself. And I think because we take so much on ourselves, that makes it hard to pour out. Because we can't tell them everything.
Feels like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like how we've had conversations.
And the only reason I wouldn't, is because of her emotion, of her fear, of her, that's me showing in my heart, that's me showing her faithfulness by holding back in certain things. To her, that's me showing less faithfulness because I didn't trust her with those things, so it is a battle. And every marriage and every spouse is obviously really different. The woman might be this provider and she might do most of these things, and the guy is in school or whatever that looks like. But I think we can agree that most women are a little bit more on the emotion side than men. At least the women I've met in my entire life, which has been quite a few. Between family, friends and everything like that.
Yeah.
So to a sense, this has to relate to most, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, they were cursed with a period from the fall of man. And
I'd be mean too.
Yeah. They have to go through that every month. And it's not just the week-long thing. I had a conversation with my wife. It's a monthly cycle. So although you're only on your period for a week, you're their reproductive organs are constantly doing something to rebuild or shed or whatever. So like there's so much more stuff going on inside their body that can make them feel bad, to make them like when I feel bad, right? When I'm sick, yes, I'm like super emotional. Like just come here, Bob. I just wanna sleep. I just wanna cuddle and sleep.
I love when I'm sick because like, yeah, just Hannah, please.
Yeah. And my wife is such a comforter. I just never give her the opportunity to, but man, when I do, it's beautiful.
Like you said, though, she can't cook, so it's a good thing when I'm sick. The only thing I want is like a piece of bread and some chicken noodle soup. Yes. She can handle that. Yeah. She can cook pretty decent. The things she's good at cooking, she can cook really good. But we ain't.
Taylor's mom always wanted her to cook. She always wanted her to help her cook, but Taylor never would. And when like I started dating Taylor when she was 17, 16, 17. I think 16. She turned 17. And I was just over there all the time. And so I never gave her the opportunity to learn. Mm-hmm. And I've loved cooking since I was like 15 years old.
I really enjoy cooking. If I have the time and I'm not stressed, I enjoy it. If it's like I am so hungry right now and I got to drive home and cook and it's 10 o'clock at night, like then I'm mad. Mm-hmm. But that's when we'll talk about self-control.
Yeah, that's when we'll talk about self-control. So we talked about faithfulness to God. I think we briefly touched on that. Let's go back. Mm-hmm. Again, we said that being faithful to God is putting God first in everything. And we talked about busyness. I think oftentimes we get so wrapped up in that busyness that's when we find, like, I don't know of another scenario in my mind where I've found myself putting anything before God.
Purposefully?
Yeah, for anything else than being busy.
Right.
I mean, even these last 2 days, Sunday. Okay, for those of you watching, last week my wife's grandfather died, and so this weekend was a huge celebration of life for him. The visitation was on Sunday, and then funeral was on Monday. But I still had my obligations, my priorities, or my duties at work, at church, right? I had to be at church at 6:30 on Sunday morning, do all 3 services, set up for our young adult ministry, and then go to the visitation after we had an hour at home, come back to church and get everything ready for 4-1 and for rehearsal, and then go back to the visitation. And then I came back to church then to help clean up. And so at the end of Sunday, I can never find time to sit down and read my Bible or to be alone with God. And on that morning,
there literally is no time unless you get up at 5 or stay up till midnight. Yeah, which is like.
And I always planned to Sunday morning, but I purposely slept in that day. And then yesterday, just. There was so much going on Monday. We're filming this on Tuesday. On Monday, there's just so much going on with the funeral. And I had to cook all of last night just to have food for this week. So I just didn't have time to do everything. And I was so busy that I did not make time for God. I did not make God my priority. Even still to this morning, I have not. I'll throw myself out there. I have not read my Bible since Saturday, and I did pray. I got time alone with God, but I was not fully immersed into His goodness and into His Spirit like I should have been. I was being unfaithful to God, and it doesn't even have to be like that. Like there doesn't have to be a whole like funeral going on. There are weeks where I find that I'll get to a Friday morning on my Sabbath and I'm like, wow, I haven't read my Bible or I haven't prayed all week. Mm. And I beat myself up because of it. And oftentimes that leads to not doing it as well. I beat myself up
You
so
feel
much.
so bad. It's like, why would I even open it?
Yeah.
No, I get that too. Yeah, that's a hard one. Where it's like, well, you just explained it. I don't have to re-explain it, but yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
It's so much guilt and shame. Even whenever you just look at an addiction or a really strong desire that is not godly, it's really hard to even pray for those things because you know it's wrong.
Yes.
But you don't want to quit or you don't want to stop doing whatever that is. That's another tricky one between, reading the Bible and then, something worldly like that.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
It is. Yes. Should we talk more about faithfulness to God?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talked about faithfulness to spouses. We briefly touched on faithfulness to friends. But I think in everything...
What about faithfulness to yourself?
Faithfulness to yourself?
As a Christian.
Like being faithful to...
I'm just thinking
God has for
in
you?
all types of things. So you're not being faithful to yourself as a Christian, not getting in God's word and digging deep. You're doing yourself more harm than good by being too busy to interact with God spiritually, physically, mentally. Like obviously a funeral and some stuff you have zero control over. There's a lot of stuff in my life where it's like I'm just busy.
Yep.
Like we're all going to Springfield for whatever. We went to Summit. I mean, it's just been absolutely nuts, kind of out of my control. But probably half of it we put on ourselves.
Yes. Probably over half.
Probably.
Because we're making ourselves busy during the day. That's other stuff.
Yeah.
But we go to the gym.
That's a have to.
No. Sometimes we'll go out to eat. We don't have to go out to eat.
Yep.
We'll sleep in.
We'll film a podcast.
Yeah. We'll sleep in. We'll go to sleep early. We will take the long way home. Like there's so many things, so many decisions we make throughout the day that pull us farther away from God, even though like in the moment they don't feel like it at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep 30 minutes early tonight. That way I can be well rested in the morning. But I haven't read my Bible. Like, I haven't been alone with God today. That decision is taking me farther away from God.
Yeah. That was good.
That was. Okay.
You killed it.
You killed it.
Yeah, I like the pink.
I do as well.
I think.
Yeah. We briefly talked about 4-1. If you're watching and you're ages 18 to 35 and out of high school, we would love to see you here at Connection Point Church on Sunday nights from 6:30 to 8. We have a time of worship and a message every week. And like I said, we'd love to see you here.
Yeah, autographs, might not be signed.
Yeah. We're not cool. If someone came up to me and asked me for an autograph, I would just tell them no.
I would say for what?
Yeah.
Like, why? Oh, you knew me like when I played ball or something? It'd be like, you played basketball? Like, oh. Okay.
Like, did you know me from... I don't even know, like, there's nothing that I did other than being an alternate for All State Choir that is even like somewhat worthy of...
Yeah. We wouldn't have been friends in high school.
Nope.
But now we're going to be neighbors.
That's right.
Yeah, buddy. With a dope podcast room.
Yeah.
Hopefully. That'd be sick.
I know. If it's the same size as yours, I don't know, man.
I don't have any money, but
yeah,
it'd be sick.
Just take everything home on Sunday.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, we got this, just the room.
Yeah. 3 C-stands isn't that hard to take home. And that thing goes in a big box.
We got this, bro. We just got to come up with something cool on the wall. And some cool chairs.
Yeah.
Love y'all. See you next week for episode 18. Hope you enjoyed this weird turn of events today.
We'll be talking about self-control next week will be the last week of Fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah. Then who knows what's coming next. I love y'all.
If you have an idea of what we should talk about, put it down in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with everyone.
Everyone, the whole world.
Yes, and again, if you don't want to watch, if you don't want to see our beautiful faces, you can listen to our beautiful voices only on Spotify.
I'm a little stopped up today, though, but it's okay. Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.